Okay, looks like we are live. I just wasn't even really sure. I only have one screen today, so it's a little tight, but everything is looking overall good to go. Let's see. Um, let's see how we're gonna do this. And really the important stuff is let's just talk about what's going on in the watch list. If we have any issues with the recording or anything like that, that's just how it's going to be. I am recording the whole thing in the background, so if we have any issues, I can just upload that. So let's just dive into the watch list. So there's a few things we're watching, and yesterday actually we also put a watch list out, and I had a few limit orders out there. And NSPR, we missed this one by just a few cents yesterday. Oh wait, it wasn't NSPR, it was TRNX. So we had a limit order at 2, and then I moved it yesterday to about 1.96, and you can see here the morning panic came all the way down to 1.97. So this would have been a nice little bounce, and I was just a little over cautious yesterday, and the reason was obviously because I was not able to look at the charts. I only checked it I think twice when we were on the boat yesterday, so I decided just to take things really cautious. So we missed that little bounce, which is fine. I mean, that would have been just a huge present if anything at all, but better safe than sorry on a lot of these small caps that are just moving. I mean, 25 million share float, so this thing could move pretty quickly. So ultimately we missed that entry right around here, but that's fine. So let's see what's going on today. There's a few things I want to talk about, and we have 8 minutes till the market opens, so we got a bit of time. AMRH, pull that one up. SFET, I want to look at that one, SFET. And then I also want to look at HEPA, because HEPA we traded before, but didn't work really in our favor. We took a small loss on HEPA, as you can see with this chart right here. This is a 5-minute chart, and you can see we traded it a few days ago. I was trying to buy a morning panic in here, and we just bought too early, and I eventually sold as the price kept going down really quickly. We got out of this trade fairly fast and took a really small loss, but ultimately it did kind of do what we wanted to do. We found a little morning panic support, and then it rallied up here, but it just was a very weak rally, so who knows. Even we could have traded this one wrong just because it didn't really have that breakout that we were looking for. So this one just a little shaky of a stock. So I'm going to keep that in mind today. I have a limit order ready to go right under 4.5. So let's see if we get another little morning panic and what that can kind of amount to. Let's go to the trading chart so we have a little bit more zoomed in. And this thing, if you look at this chart right here in the bottom right, it had multiple attempts to break out to the upside, but so far they've all been kind of rejected. And today we kind of did break out to the upside. We're holding right under this $5 area, and big support right down here below at 4. So let's see what happens. I mean, this was an initial big breakout zone, so I'm going to be pretty interested to see if we get a little morning panic, find some support here again, maybe have a bounce, but this has been some pretty strong selling off already in the morning pre-market. Yeah, a little over 20% selling off already. So I mean, that's kind of high, but there's definitely good potential. This thing could break out to a new high. The only thing is, this thing is doesn't have really any news. It has just 7-day-old news, so it's all just rehashing stuff. I'm not really sure if that's going to be enough for this thing to really break to new highs. So that's why I'm a little cautious with this one. So I'm going to throw this one quickly on our watch list. Oh, it already is on our watch list a little bit further up. Let me move it down here. So we have everything we're looking at really closely. The other thing we're looking at is AMRH, one of the bigger floats that we're trading today. But up on a contract winner, which isn't really that big for a company like this. I mean, this company has 139 market cap, and a $1 million contract might not really move the needle all too much. But let's see what happens. Clear support at $2. And that's where I would look for a possible entry. So we have a order ready to go on this one as well. And then the last one we're looking at, SFET. This one's really tiny, and this one I want to be really cautious about. I mean, 0.22 million float. I don't even know the last time I traded something with such a small float. So that's only $220,000. The shares being traded. So let's see what happens. We'll quickly review this one. Yeah, so this one's up on third quarter financial results. I mean, financial results are always good catalyst for rallies, and they're a little bit, they usually have a little bit more substance behind them. And that's also why, I mean, it's already ran up 100% pre-market. So let's see how much it's going to really dip before maybe it continues to try to make new highs. Again, with this one, we have a limit order ready to go. A little bit more cautious, so we'll see. And also, I'm trying to figure out how I can see the live comments coming in. So I'm just trying to figure that out right now. I'm dealing with a little too many screens at the moment. Let me see if I could just put I got my phone here on the side. See if I can maybe put this in a better spot. All right, 3 minutes till the market opens. It's weird trading in the morning, to be honest with you. Usually the market opens in Berlin at 3:30 p.m. All right, I don't really know where to put this phone to properly see any messages coming in. Maybe if I just right here. Well, I guess I could just manually check every now and then on the phone. All right. Overall, though, the markets are very, very strong. All the indexes are up quite significantly. This whole week has been really good rally. So we'll see if the small caps can also keep up with the market in terms of just some really nice moves to the upside. So yeah, usually we don't have 3 limit orders ready to go in the morning, but this time we do. So it's going to be a little crazy of a morning, but ultimately we're not really going to be doing too much. We're going to see if the price comes to us. Ideally, see if price finds some support. I don't really want to enter on the way down. Ideally, we'd want to enter on the way back up. So I might be moving limit orders around. We'll see what happens. Should be a really interesting morning. We got 1 minute and 40 seconds still to go. I think AMRH I really want to be cautious about. I think if it breaks 2, it might have a lot of downside to go. So this one, I want to be really, really careful with, and I would probably be selling into any sort of bounce, over 5%. This one already has a really nice rounded bottom. Last time we saw something like this, it actually had quite a strong morning rally. It did dip a little bit, but not too much. I don't exactly remember which ticker that was. I want to kind of look it up, but I'm not sure if we'll have time. It was one we traded recently, so if you go to our Trade to Win thread, our journey thread, probably be able to find it there. And yeah. Okay, let me get this out of the way. All right, 17 seconds. A little morning stretch, deep breath. Oh, that was good. Alright, so we're up 47, 10, and 6. Let's keep a close eye on that. SFET is already having its morning panic. AMRH is doing that morning rally. So this one might slip through our fingers if it continues. And HEPA just kind of crawling along, nothing really too crazy. There's quite a lot of other things going on our watch list, but I didn't really have time to review them all today. And any more than just a few stocks that you're watching sometimes gets a little overwhelming. So I like to just focus on 1 to 2 really, but reviewing 3 is always a good thing in the morning because usually one of those is a sleeper anyway. see if we break down through this $10-$50 area. All right. This thing right away. First candle green, second candle green already. You know, these two candles right here is already, 8%. I can't get over how small some of these market caps are. I mean, 3 million market cap is just tiny. Okay, SFET didn't have that break and just crashed really fast. This might be our first entry. Move this down just a little bit. HEPA is moving over 5, now really getting some momentum behind it. See if we have a secondary crash to this area, and then maybe an entry closer to 8.5 or something like that. Quickly check out what the other ones are doing. AMRH, also panicking. Not too much yet. And then HEPA again. HEPA's actually looking pretty good. Kind of surprised. I was expecting HEPA, if any of them, to have more of the morning panic. So AMRH is now dipping a little lower. Let's see how far it's going to go. 2.2 is where I had that pre-market. But I'd be totally fine if we didn't trade today. We didn't trade Monday or Tuesday, so sometimes that first day you're back in the market, you kind of just want to, be a little bit calm and relaxed. And not just jump into something right away. So I'm just taking things a little bit more cautious, and it really seems like everything is having a little bit of a sell-off today, this morning. I mean, it might be gapping up, but first, some profit taking, a little morning panic. But this is what we like to see. These are all some of my favorite patterns, the morning panic. Yeah, 8% bounce already, quite a nice little bounce. Let's see what happens. We would really need to crack this 2.15 area, and there's kind of a lot of support in this area, so I'm not really sure. Might have played that one way too conservatively. SFET is getting that secondary dip right now. See if I can skip. Trying to figure out where I can see the. See if I can throw up the live chat. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you guys back. Sebastian, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Here we go. Might have our entry right here. Just where we wanted this one. 120. Let's go ahead and identify this. trying to sell. See what kind of bounce we get on this one. Moved it down a little bit. We are at 8. All right, we're out of this position. 4%, 5% profit, give or take. This was a smaller position, $40 to $5 profit. That was pretty quick. The reason I really wanted to get out of this position so fast is because of that super tiny float. I mean, obviously the pounds could be a lot bigger, but I don't want to really touch it, test it too much. Not to mention, we're also in a few other plays at the moment. HEPA's looking really good. This would have been that really nice bounce. But let's go back to SFET, just kind of keep watching it. All right, now we're having that pullback. We might break back above 9 and really have a solid bounce. That was kind of sketchy because I was trying to put the sell limit order in there, but I couldn't. And the reason I couldn't is because I was on the wrong account. Those accounts keep getting me. But again, that's why I wanted to take today really slow, because Monday and Tuesday I didn't trade. So today I thought I might make a stupid mistake, and there was one right there. Ultimately, it didn't affect us, and we got out really nicely. That was just about a perfect trade. But the last thing you want to be doing is doing something ridiculous that could really hurt you. So that was a nice little pop to the downside. We bought near this high right here. That's exactly what our goal was, where we had this initial breakout, and then we sold on the first bounce. I don't like usually waiting for a second bounce because you don't know if you're always going to get it. But look, this time it looks like there will be a second bounce. So yeah, we probably could have squeezed another 2-3% out of this one in the short term, maybe 4%. So yeah, this trade could have definitely gone better, but like I said, I want to be extra cautious. And if anything, I would look for maybe a secondary trade on this one. Let's see what happens. Just keep a close eye on it. Right now we're still in a full downwards trend and the volume is selling off. I still want to figure out a way for you guys for me to zoom it in a little bit more. I just need to really take, I think, a full day playing around with Camtasia, or not Camtasia, XSplit, and just figuring out the right settings and maybe some zoom features. I was already doing a bit of Googling, and there's nothing off the back to zoom in while you're presenting. But that's also why I want to do my afternoon recap videos, because that I can edit and that I can zoom in a little bit more. Let's just go ahead, keep watching the price here a little bit. So yeah, I mean, we exited at 08. We could have went out at 20. This thing is actually bouncing really nicely. Now it's at 30. This might even hit VWAP. For those of you guys don't know who VWAP is, variable weighted moving average, and it's basically a moving average that's affected by the volume a lot more than your typical moving average. It's kind of like exponential moving average. A lot of traders use it to identify short-term support and resistance zones, and this blue line right here, actually no, this blue line is exponential moving average, the EMA. It's a 15-minute EMA or 15-tick EMA, and then this purple line right here is the middle of the VWAP, and this lower area this yellow is the lower area of the VWAP, and the red kind of maroon color is the top VWAP. So these are sometimes what a lot of traders are looking at. All right, so big dip right here. Yeah, I was scared that that dip was going to happen right away, so I was pretty happy we got out of this one. You know, I'll take my 45 bucks, and with its small position, I mean, 45 bucks is actually pretty good. I mean, 4 or 5%. Nothing really to run home about, not a home run trade, but once we start trading $10,000 position sizes, that's going to be a $450 profit right there in just 3 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on all the other things moving right now. I might close out one of these positions so I can load up a trade. This one actually looks really good. What I like about this one, we had some sort of a bottom here. We kind of had a little double bottom near this 2.24. Now we're breaking to the upside. Already 6% up. I think this thing can really continue back to the VWAP. Maybe find some resistance in this area, but pretty healthy price action. Just kind of moving a little bit slower. It's also just had a reverse split, and I don't really want to be trading stuff that I don't have too much experience with, and those first day reverse splits are sometimes I'd rather just keep my paws off of that. HEPA's really taking a lot of the action today. Buying here below VWAP at the $5 on this initial break, this initial pullback would have been pretty interesting. At one point we'd be up 4%. I'm going to very quickly calculate the percentages for this one. Let me see if I can just zoom out a little bit. So 120 at 8.7. Let's quickly do that real fast. Today's the 27th. Computer is a little slow right now. What do we say? 120 at 8.7, and we've sold at 9.08. Should be calculating right now. Okay, yeah, position size was a little over $1,000, 4.37% profit, which gave us $45 profit. Not too bad. Today's the 27th, and this is also SFET. If you guys are wondering what template I'm using, Google template, just check out in the video description below. This is called TradeJournal.co. I'm gonna go ahead and close this one. Last week we had a pretty rough week. Last week, we took a lot of losers. None of them were really that bad. We just kind of consistently took losers. I don't know what was going on with me yesterday or last week, but the nice part about last week is all our losers were very small and our winners were much bigger. So our winner was about 7%, while most of our losers were about 3 or 4%. So we're really tightening in on our strategy. It's getting better and better. This month is definitely green. So we're definitely going in the right direction. And by the time we increase our volume size, we'll be really much better with understanding about our strategy, what we're looking for, and all that fun stuff. This one's really not dipping too hard. We're now 15 minutes after the morning opens, and a lot of times around 15 minutes is when you'll start having red to green moves come to fruition. It's those first 15 minutes where you have the morning panic. So right now we're not looking anymore for morning panics, and that's really what we were trading on all these different tickers this morning on these three. All three of the setups that we were looking for were morning panics, and those are officially over. You can see, and let me just go ahead and probably just clean up these limit orders in a second. So if we just go on the big chart with HEPA, this chart's kind of refreshing. It gives you a really kind of bird's eye view of what's going on. It even shows you last time we traded HEPA. So, we had this big morning sell-off. It found some support here on this simple moving average, 180 moving average. Big support here, but also you can say, there was previous support here. So I don't like to use really moving averages to identify entries and exits. I just like previous support and resistance. I'm a pretty simple trader, and that's because everyone looks at that kind of stuff. So if you were able to identify, okay, here is really big support, because this is where we had that initial big morning breakout, or afternoon breakout. You could say, when the price comes back to that area, whoever wasn't on board probably still has limit orders left over there, or new traders are going to identify that, and that we're going to bounce off that area. So that's exactly what happened. This one's up 14%. 14% with our position size right now. That's a good $140 profit. So tiny positions, but still can give you big profit. That's really what we like to see. Let's check out SFET again. Looks like it might be trying to dip lower one more time. Really not holding its highs, and there's something you want to be really careful here. Let me move this down a little bit. Is when you see the volume, that much volume that's red, it usually doesn't mean people are just taking profits. It oftentimes means there's short sellers, and there's people really selling into the market, usually to open a position. I mean, this is a little dangerous. This is more than just profit taking. So you want to be careful when you're dip buying something like this, because yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that this trend will just continue, and it looks like we're just continuing right now. I think right here we might see some really good support. This could be a secondary entry right here at $8. Let's see what happens here. And this is why I wanted to clear out limit orders last time, and I forgot to click the exit button. This could use probably a bigger order. Yeah, it's obviously way too big. So we missed this entry because I was moving around a little bit too much, but this $8, $805 area would have been exactly where I wanted to do a potential, entry. The spread on this thing is just crazy. I'm not gonna enter. I'm just kind of looking up what general prices are for this, for our position size. If we get a secondary dip here, I would definitely enter. I think this thing could bounce quite nicely, and I mean that's exactly what it looks like it's doing. Already in the 30s, 29, 34. Yeah, this bounce, guys. We missed this one. Wow. Oh well. We already got one good green trade in. This was already up 5%. We'd probably be closing this trade right around now. Walk away with a nice 5-6%. Let's see if it dips down again. Quite an aggressive sell-off, though. Just something to keep in mind. And if we crack this $8 area, I mean, there might be quite a little bit of a free fall here, and I think there's a good amount of traders that are probably a little cautious about that. Next major support zone. Let's actually just go to a daily. So this looks like a failed breakout. unless it has some sort of, major reversal. Let's quickly go to the 4-hour on this one. We just got to keep track of HEPA. We still have an order out for that, but that's at 4.3 something. So yeah, this 4-hour is not looking healthy at all. But you can see here at the low 8s, big support. So we could have gotten a little bit more aggressive there. $7, I would go ahead and say is just going to be some really big support. But I don't think we're going to really see that area right now. But if we do crack this 8, I think we might really see 7 come to fruition. So let's see what happens here. I'm genuinely very curious. It looks like the 8 held again so far. I would be pretty nervous if I was a short seller piling up a position in this area. And again, these two charts down here in the bottom, you can see a little bit more what's going on. This is our nice 5-minute view, which sometimes helps identify reversals. One, two, three, four, 5 big red candles already. Volume slowly going down. I think if SFET breaks the upside here, buying on some sort of pullback might be kind of interesting as well. Big buyers coming in. I'm just reading the order book now. Thanks, Sebastian. Yeah, that was a cool little morning trade. It's nice to have a good one to start the week back off. So just kind of watching the order book now. Big sellers, $8.29, 70 at the ask, 75. Huge sellers. So it looks like I would have been right on buying that second dip back at $8 would have been the ticket for us. That would have been a 6% trade. I just wasn't fully comfortable with it, so it's fine. I mean, I'll bag my green trade and probably walk off today with that one. It's going to be a slow week just because we're not trading that much this week, and then tomorrow the markets are closed as well for Thanksgiving. So we'll have one more trading day on Thanksgiving. So let's see what we can squeeze out of that. But as long as we don't do anything stupid, we'll end this month in the green, and that's really what I like to see, especially after October was a really shaky month for us. We were a little all over the place with our strategy, and then we also held a stock that we were not able to get out of due to liquidity, and that was one of our biggest losers. So that's why I'm paying so much more attention to volume and the float, the dollar volume. This thing looks like it's just kind of creeping higher and higher. You got to remember, we're still in a downwards trend with SFET, and this blue line, this 15 tick EMA, there's a good chance it'll just completely reject it. It's trying. It's trying hard. Zoom in a little bit more. Also, sometimes I get a little overly focused on some of these stocks. Last time I would have been better off, searching the market a little bit more to see what's rallying and buying things breaking to the upside. Because these things sometimes, you can get kind of faked out. There's, not too much margin upside. We're talking about 5% here, 7% there. While in reality, we need to be looking for things with much bigger returns. So I'm going to go ahead and put a alert here. So I'll be notified if we go under that $8, and then I could pay attention to this thing again. Okay, AMRH, what we had on our watch list, had a big little dip. This thing moves much faster. Well, not really faster, but these bounces are a bit more aggressive, I guess you can say, but it doesn't really have that much dollar volume. HEPA is getting kind of rejected right here in this area. This was a really good move, a 12% move from the bottom to top VWAP, but now we're kind of in this area where there's a little bit of a resistance trend line. You can see we've hit these tops multiple times, and now we've hit it for that fourth time actually. So I guess if you count the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Really just rejected the price off this level, so we'll see what happens. But right now it's caught by the EMA, a little 2% bounce on this one. This is all really small stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and put an alert if we're under 5. Create alert. Put this here below. Let's just keep looking around. It's not really interesting. HEPA again. PTI. Let's see what this one's doing. Ooh, sorry guys. This one actually looks really good. PTI, therapeutics, healthcare. No news though. That's not good. You really need something with news if it wants to break into new highs. And wow, look at that rally. Oh, sorry. I think something is tickling my nose. So, whoops, that's also not what I wanted to do. Let me quickly go ahead and remove this line. Down here, since we broke out from the 170% rally. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so yeah, check this one out. This one has just been flying. And again, I mean, this thing is up on no new news. What was that big breakout originally? That was on the 19th. Is there any news down there? Not really. Earnings per share up a little bit, so I had financial results were better. Okay, so this one's up. Looks like a little bit of a turnaround story. Big resistance right above it, guys. I'd be very careful buying this one right now. I was thinking earlier, if it breaks above this 2.75, this thing could really rally. 51 million shares outstanding, so a little bit higher on average. I think this thing most likely will be pulling back. Nah, not really anything too interesting, but cool little market morning rally. I think I would have probably been pretty confident with maybe dip buying this thing, but I probably would have been way too conservative and kind of missed that entry. But what I like about this one is that really consistent momentum it has behind it, and then selling near a former top like 2.7 would have been a pretty solid move. So anything from 2.5 to 2.7 and a 7% return definitely could have been possible on PTIA. Let's check out OCGN. Alright, finding some support here at 4, but I don't know, this is a sub-dollar, and I typically don't trade sub-dollar, just because the spread and whatnot is a little all over the place. I'm not saying I don't ever do it. We actually recently did trade sub-dollar, but and we got a nice 10%, but that one was so sketchy. We were really lucky just because we had a small position size. You know, like it's not stuff that you can always do once you start trading with larger position sizes. And 1 second, I think I need to blow my nose. I'll be right back. Whew. All right, I feel so much better. AVEO, yeah, no really dollar volume. I think we picked the right ones today, guys. I really do. I mean, I think PTI could have been included on our list, but overall, I think we did a pretty good move. HEPA finding some support here. Hold up, is this gonna break out from this area? Let me just watch this a little bit. There's definitely a lot more buyers. If this thing breaks above this trend line, I think we could really see this thing go for a bit. Oh man, yeah, I don't know, there's still something squiggling in my nose. All right, here we go. Here's the breakout. Or are we going to get a fake out? I'm just going to watch this one a little bit longer. And we're just about 30 minutes after the morning market opens. So we'll be ending the live stream shortly. So yeah, this is actually going to be a fun one to watch. $3 million shares outstanding, 18 million market cap. I mean, this thing could really rally hard. It's tried to break past this area multiple times, and so far it hasn't. But if it does, I think there's huge potential here. I really like this kind of slow move to the upside, you know, slowly building momentum, but it has this reverse split here. And a lot of times when you see a reverse split, you know, the price never really comes back from that. So I think there's just going to be so many sellers waiting in this area that are just going to sell into this thing. SFET. Let's quickly take a quick little gander what's going on here. Okay, broke the 7. This is what we've been talking about. Let's watch this one just a little bit longer too. On the 5-minute chart, this one's just getting absolutely destroyed. If we bought, let's say right now, okay, that's a decent position size, although we wouldn't have enough for that. So we would have to wait for the price to go a little bit lower. HEPA looks like it's breaking out. I'm going to be really interested to check out HEPA later today, maybe closer to the market open, see what happened the rest of the day after we log off. SFET, I mean, this is really doing that bounce. This is kind of a wedge it's forming here. Not a very neat wedge, but potentially wedge nonetheless. Kind of something like this. Not perfect, but volume slowly dying. This could be a great dip buy at one point, but right now it's just selling off so aggressively. I probably would not be buying it until it was closer to $7. So, you know, that might be something I'm going to be looking into today. I'll put a lurk here again, see if it dips down, but I really do think as well, at any moment this thing could really just have a good little bounce. Maybe back even to the $9 area, but I don't want to just sit here and wait for that. So I'll just put a limit order for here. Maybe we can snag this one today. And I could always go ahead and move it up. I'm just going to have that as a little reminder, and then I also have my mark, my alert that will go off. And yeah, I think that will be a perfect little kind of way to wrap up the day. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in for this morning's live stream. Tomorrow we won't be going live because it's Thanksgiving, the markets are closed. The next day, Friday, will definitely be going live, at least right now, unless I just so happen to be like in an airplane or some crazy something going on, but I shouldn't. So yeah, ooh, my shirt's a little unaligned. Here we go. So yeah guys, thanks again for tuning in. Hit that like button if you have not done so already, and I will see you guys then Friday. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Till next time, ciao, ciao.